Namo Adida Fa, good morning. Thank you for joining us for our daily practice check-in. Listen, listen, listen. This beautiful sound calls us back to our true home. The second wonderful precept. Aware of the suffering caused by exploitation, social injustice, stealing, and oppression, I vow to cultivate loving kindness and learn ways to work for the well-being of people, animals, plants, and minerals. I will practice generosity by sharing my time, energy, and material resources with those who are in real need. I am determined not to steal and not to possess anything that should belong to others. I will respect the property of others, but I will prevent others from profiting from human suffering or the suffering of other species on earth. Today's selection from Ajahn Sucitta's book, Kamma and the End of Kamma, is The Path of Transcendence, Parami. Why act and why meditate if there's nothing to gain from it? Well, you act and meditate in order to get your intent straightened out, not to win any awards. The rewards come by themselves. In this respect, the persistent cultivation of Kamma in terms of perfections, parami or paramita, has evolved into a main theme in Buddhist cultures. Parami are ways of generating good Kamma in a very thorough way, so that practicing in the world, the mind is yet trained to release unskillful mindsets and deepen into transcendent ones. They help us to broaden the mind into an awareness that is uncluttered and bright. For this reason, parami also carries the meaning of qualities that cross over. In the Theravada tradition, the parami are listed as generosity, morality, renunciation, wisdom, discernment, persistence, patience, truthfulness, kindness, resolution, and equanimity. All these ask us to bring forth skill from our hearts in response to what we experience, and it's a response which has liberation as its aim. It's good to remember that liberation is not some out-there state. It just means the path and the fruit of letting go of greed, aversion, and delusion, and of the basis on which they arise. Generosity is about sharing, and not just in material terms. It's a whole attitude to life. You share resources of money, time, skills, and energy because of that sense of interrelatedness that is the bedrock of life. We're in this together. Everything affects everything else. Consider others' welfare as you'd like them to consider yours. This is transcendence of self-view on a mundane level. And when any good Kamma is enacted from that sense of interdependence, rather than from some moralizing basis of you should be good, the result is that you feel good. So everyone gains. The giver feels joy, and the receiver feels the effects of kindness. Through the practice of parami, a sense of innate value, punya, in oneself, in others, but mostly in the blessing of skillful action, arises. This does go against the Western anti-ego notion that you shouldn't feel good about your own actions. But not feeling good about your actions just generates a cynical or sad ego. From a Buddhist perspective, release from self-view is a later step that is based upon confidence with regard to your actions and intention. Without that sense of trust, you really don't have a steady foundation. All the parami follow that principle. They speak for themselves. Morality leads to self-respect and the trust of people around you. Renunciation draws you out of the grip of the materialist energies that control much of society. Discernment cuts through the blur of feelings to tell you what is skillful and what isn't. Patience, to not rush, to allow things to move at a harmonious rate, is great for willful, got-to-get-it-done mindsets. There's a whole life of cultivation just in this parami alone. These parami are not always on display in the world, nor does their cultivation mean that you become a success in worldly terms. It's not that likely that you will become the leader of a political party or of a global corporation through such karma. But maybe. A friend of mine in business told me that years ago he vowed to only deal honestly with clients, no false promises, no granting of favors, no illegal dodges. At first his business declined a little, but after a while, as people realized they could trust what he said was what he meant, they began to prefer that straight way of dealing, and his business increased. Ethical business can make sense. At any rate, you always gain in terms of having self-respect, a clear conscience, and friends that you can rely on. It's these that will get you through the tough times. When the economy crashes or your health fails, when you're bereaved or blamed, knowing how to live simply and be an equanimous witness to experience are real lifesavers. May all beings be well. May all beings be happy. May all beings be peaceful. Sadhu. 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 Thank you for beginning the day with me, and I hope you have a lovely rest of the day.